welcome back. I have my friend here, Nali, and we're gonna do a video together.
And we're gonna talk about a business that we started called PhunkFresh.
A business that we once had that was not registered. So if you search it up on Google, you won't find it yet. I mean, anymore, maybe you will. Maybe you find a few pictures. Yeah, but you could, like, you know, do research, historic research, and stuff like that. But anyway, we're going to be talking about our business and stuff that we learned from it and stuff like that. So I am not 19.
We're both
20. Yeah, we're both 20.
20 years old.
I'm still getting used to it because I just turned 20 a few weeks ago. So basically, we're just going to be talking about our experiences with our business and what we learned and things like that.
And how it's going to shape our future, or how it is shaping our future.
Yeah, and how from doing it we learned so much. So we learned so much from doing it, though we don't do it anymore.
At present, you never know, guys. You could see it back on
true.
the market one day.
Yeah. So though we don't do it at present, yeah, it will. You know, we will do something in the future, whether it be separately or together. But you know, hopefully this video will inspire some of you. And I'm hoping that you clicked on this video because maybe you had a business idea that maybe didn't work out. Oh,
you could use this as a learning curve, or maybe sometimes what not to do.
Yeah.
And maybe we can give you advice as to how we would have shaped what we did a bit better, so maybe we would have been a bit more successful.
Yeah. Basically wearing the shirts that I designed at the time. And yeah, let's get started.
At present, I am going into third year of studying fashion management and marketing.
Okay, for me at present, I've just finished my foundation year and I'm going to be starting my first year in fashion design. Oh. Okay.
Okay. Well, I can't really remember this part, but Zandalay seems to have a bit more of a vivid experience as to what it is exactly that inspired us to start the brand at the time. But I just remember that we had like a love of thrifting, because that's what we do all summer. We just go into town to the charity shops, all the vintage shops, and graze around. And I think we always had a thing for really eclectic prints, especially Zandalay, I must say.
Like more, I wouldn't really say Afrocentric. So.
At the time it wasn't Afrocentric. That was kind of something that we added in.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like my inspiration anyway for the brand was when I remember there was a time or a period of when we were going or about to go into college, into college year. I remember not really having much to do and remembering that, oh gosh, you know, maybe some of my friends live far away. So then I remembered, oh, you know, Nali lives near me. So then we started doing like walking from our house all the way to town every day. And every time we'd walk there, I remember not having much money, we'd go into like charity shops. So then that's when we started loving charity shops and even car boots. Remember you came to and car boots and stuff like that. And I guess that's where and those were like, you know, days where I'd look at even on Tumblr. So you know, Tumblr had this, I don't know if it still has that, but you know, like grungy kind of things. And I started liking like, you know, the outfits and like the denim kind of shirts and like, you know, really like I started to have basically to develop my style from then, or the desire to have a particular unique style, if that makes sense. So that's how I was inspired to do the business. Oh, and also from looking on Tumblr, I remember I found some shirts that had stuff like this, and I remember I hadn't really seen it that much, but then I thought, let me just add a difference and just approach it differently and just kind of do different shapes.
I think it was a time when the whole paneling trend was very popular, so people just paneling sides of their shirts.
Yeah, I remember Topshop started as well.
Yeah, so it was at that time when that whole thing was in, and it was also a time when African fabrics had just started to break into a bit. They were becoming a bit more I wouldn't exactly say mainstream, but they were becoming a bit more acceptable to be seen wearing in a day-to-day environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think people were starting to get a bit more creative with African fabric, and our idea really stemmed into trying to just have pieces that can be worn as statement pieces, on a day-to-day experience, you know, just stand out from a simple design on a shirt with really eclectic fabric, and that can be your statement. And I think that was one of the key points. Our main focus was always the fabric and the design, as well as sourcing a vintage shirt. The element, we did want to retain a vintage element, so we did use vintage shirts, and yeah, so
I personally think what was interesting about the brand, it developed from a love for going thrifting. I also began to just like appreciate like vintage pieces. I started kind of always wanting to see how I could kind of like revamp vintage pieces. I think that was the most unique thing, and I tried to really put that into our brand.
To me, it was the fact that at the time it was something that was relatively new. It wasn't something that was really explored by the time. I think we saw like one main key brand had done something like this, but not essentially at a mass market level. And I think we always had the ambition that it was something that would eventually become a lot bigger when we first started out. So I think it was just that whole potential of knowing that it's something that could really expand. And I feel like if we had continued and we were one of the first ones out there to do it, maybe this wouldn't even be happening right now. We'd be millionaires.
Yeah, how long ago did we do this business?
I think almost 4 years ago. If not 5. I think it was almost 5. Because
I remember I was 16.
Maybe, I think we were like maybe 14 or 15 and 16. I don't know, it spanned out over quite.
Yeah, so it's a long time ago. And an interesting thing is, so other people had purchased from like other countries and stuff like that. So anyway, somebody had purchased a top from the UK, and we went to the same college, and just the other day it just popped up to me saying, oh hey, you know, I'm interested in buying a shirt.
She still has loads left, guys, in case anyone's interested.
So like it just popped up and just asked if we could buy a shirt, and from that I was like, oh yeah, I once did that. So for me, like, I'd completely forgotten about this, but I'd kind of put it away, kind of thing. I just kind of put it to the back of my mind because I felt like it was just something that I'd done before, you know, it was just an old thing. Although I still had the stuff, but I'd forgot about the things that I'd made. So yeah, so it's amazing that the person's able to still walk around and people will like, you know, like ask questions like, oh, you know, I want your shirt, you know, where did you get your shirt from? And people want that particular shirt. So I think actually I've just got to my point. But an interesting thing about the brand is because I made sure that when I designed the shirts, I made one of each. So also because they're vintage shirts, they're different. So the different patterns, different like material, different make, different
shades.
Brand also. They're all different like good quality brands as well. So I always made sure that there was one of each, so that, because another interesting thing is that you would be able to walk with a top that no one else has.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I really love, that I really wanted to really bring about with this with this brand.
Where'd you get your shirt from?
For me, it's like, oh wow, and I completely had just put that in the back of my mind. But yeah, we'll continue.
I can't remember at this moment in time. There was a lot of processes. It was something we did gradually. I remember we designed the logo, but I wasn't sure whether that was before or after we bought.
Yeah, I can't quite remember if I made the logo, and I'm gonna start it out by, I remember I had this idea in my head. Oh yeah, I remember. There was this shop that they had in town, and it sold denim tops.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember now. So it sold denim. No, it wasn't a vintage shop.
Which one?
Oh yeah, yes it was. There was a shop that we always went to in Leicester. And we went to the shop all the time. It was called Pink Pigeon Vintage.
Shout out.
Or Dolly Mixture Vintage. They were both, I think now they're the same store. Well,
Yeah.
they are the same store, but they just had like different things going on, or different vibe in each store. So we used to always go to that vintage store and would see all these like cool things, and we'd see all these lovely like denim tops and stuff like that. And I was like go into like vintage stores and look at like the I just really love like the unique denim shirts that they wear, and just the quality and the like oversized ness about that denim shirt had. From a design perspective, the way I started it out is I remember I went on, there was a store that sold really cheap things, and I think they had like denim shirts for like £5. In that same store, I think, or in like a different store, Nali saw she basically bought some denim skirts, I remember.
Oh yes,
she bought some denim skirts, and I remember, I think this other store, was it called Blue something? Blue 5? The blue... Anyway, so there was a store in the shopping mall that had a sale, and they basically had some shorts for like £3. So we started off with just that, and then so we took pictures. I showed, you know, like a couple of friends, and I remember one of my friends actually really wanted a top, and he actually bought one. So I basically went out and I bought just a plain denim top, and I remember I did a top for him. Yeah, so I did a top for him, and he really loved that top, and he said people like the top. So then I spoke to my mom. I was like, oh, you know, I really don't really have that much money, and I went on eBay and I looked for vintage tops. So we were able to buy like a bulk amount of different vintage tops, and these tops were all different. So they were all different. Some were short sleeves, some were long sleeves, some were good, some were not good, you know. So I made sure that I was able to afford the grade A, grade B vintage tops, and they were all good quality. Like the quality of the shirt is good, quality of the shirt is good, and they're all different. This one's like got clippy bits and stuff like that. So anyway, like in the process of that, I was doing like the logo. So I did the logo, Microsoft Word and PowerPoint.
Actually, before we even got to the logo, there was the whole thing about the name. We had
Oh yeah, we had so many. We had the naming, the brand naming.
I think we actually had decided on the name, and then we found out that it was a business or something, and we couldn't use it. I can't remember the name.
I can't remember the name.
Like, I think it was Nubian something. I don't know if it was Nubian Queen, Nubian...
No, it was a unique name. I know that it was a unique name.
Or Afro Funk, or Afro... It was something.
It was a cool name. It was a really cool name.
Yeah, but we found out it existed, so we couldn't use it. So
wasn't it Nancy or something like that? I think we put our names together.
At first we did put our names together.
Yeah, but anyway, that whole changed.
Nandi.
I think it was Nandi.
Oh, that would have been nice actually.
Yeah, Nandi's a South African name.
Doesn't mean bird or something.
Well, Zimbabwe name. Well, I mean, Ndebele is a Zulu name, but
okay.
yeah, or even a Xhosa, whatever. We don't want to get technical. But anyway, it's a name in the south of Africa, or even anywhere in the world actually. I don't could be called Nandi.
Yeah. So I think we did put our names together at one point, and then it just wasn't working. I don't know, maybe we did decide on the name, but then we did decide on the name, but we had to lose it because we found out that another business was using it, and it was a pretty big business. So
yeah, so we just couldn't use it, and I'm not all about
having copyright issues.
Yeah.
Because we had big dreams for this guy.
Yeah, so we made sure that we're able to do it. And I think I only was informed about things like that from Nali, because obviously she was coming from a fashion marketing kind of
perspective.
You know, so it's really
I'll
good
do
to
my research.
Yeah. So I think that's how we initially got things up and running.
So as you can see, we had, well, from the collections that we had, there was quite an eclectic mix of fabrics. I think the fabrics was one of the key points, one of the key USPs of what we were selling, I guess.
What does USP mean?
Unique selling point.
Oh, right. Learning something new.
Yes, that's just what makes something different from the norm, maybe stand out from the norm. So yeah, I think the mixture, the types of fabrics that we use, we really wanted to be, I don't know, loud.
I really wanted the fabrics to really contrast on denim. So like, you know, what colors would go with blue kind of thing. And to be honest, because I always knew that, okay, if I want to source like the best kind of like fabrics, it'd be to go to London. So like I always had the dream to be able to like go to London and source different fabrics. And I remember Nali had actually gone to a trip to like, I think it was Loughborough or Market Hardrock, and she'd seen like a lady who was selling some beautiful African fabrics from Africa?
I think it was from Kenya, so it was a textile show. So then I sent the snippets to Zandale and we got so excited.
Yeah, I was like, wow, so nice, so beautiful. And like I really, you know, wanted to always have like fabrics that were different. But, you know, for a starting point, you know, I was able to source my fabrics from just eBay. Yeah, and I remember I would always save my dinner money. Like I hardly had that much money, so like I would save my dinner money and just buy the odd muffin. I remember that. I remember that very well.
We were on
we had 50p muffins at school, and like I'd always make sure that I have a muffin and I have an apple. You know, I think the apples were like 20p. I can't remember, or 50p as well. So I remember I had the green apple and had the muffin, but I didn't mind because I was just excited every time like I get a post, you know, a package of fabric. And yeah, so I get some fabric from eBay, and I'll get some. I only got fabric once from like SD, but it was quite like expensive. But it was worth it. But just the sizes of the fabrics were like quite small. Whereas if you go to places like London, well, now I know because I go there for uni, like there's a vast majority of fabrics. And if you have friends like, you know, that, you know, go to places like Africa or like China, I think you're able to get really good like cool fabrics. Not only just African fabrics, but just cool fabrics like that, you know, give off that like, you know, like African kind of like vibe. Afrocentric and modern. But I always had fabrics. I'm Tanzanian, by the way, and my mum used to have loads of sometimes we had stiff kangas, so they'd have like really nice prints on, but unfortunately we couldn't always use them. We couldn't use them because she quite liked the fabric, so it was a bit, I didn't really want to get into arguments with her. So I think there were some fabrics I did just take without her permission, and then she eventually found that they were cut up, but she didn't mind that time, and there's not much she could have done. But fabrics were definitely a very expensive aspect of this, as well as obviously sourcing the shirts as well. But like, you know, kangas are like different like prints, so they have things like this. So that was one of the tops that we were able to prints that we're able to include like in our like mini like collection. Or, so that's how we source our fabrics.
Main one, guys, start up funds. I think this is something that every person who's ever started up a business will tell you, the money aspect of it, especially because we were so young. And none of us were working at the time, so it's not like we could have pulled money from jobs or anything. We were just literally relying on dinner money from our parents or just, I don't know, spare money that we just used to get. And I think at
the time you worked at McDonald's, but it wasn't that much pay.
No, I started working at McDonald's towards the end, but that was when things started to fade off, because that's when I was like A-levels and managing a job. So even if I did, at that point, it was just kind of like PhunkFresh was not on my mind. But it really should have been. I think I could have used those.
Because you also had your contract bill. I remember she had a contract bill. And, you know,
I was experiencing the adult life, so I kind of been thrown out there. So it wasn't really in my mind at that time, like to buy fabrics. But I really should have. I think if I had invested my money into that.
We weren't even 18 yet.
Yeah, we weren't. I think we're about 14, 15, 16.
No, we were definitely not 14. We were like 16,
15
17.
or 16.
Definitely not 18 yet. That's really like, wow, okay. Struggles were just finances, being able to have enough finances to be able to kind of keep on going. With being able to like do our stuff. Also because we went to college at the time as well. Because we had to go to college and stuff like that, I didn't really have time to like, you know, stitch all of them. So I remember I'd go to the textiles room sometimes. I'd take like, you know, a couple of shirts with me to college, and then at lunchtime try and use their sewing machines or just do tack stitching whilst I was sitting there and just kind of use the iron. Or I remember that. So anything, I'll do my like tacking and sewing and just make sure everything's like, you know, crispy. Because I'm really particular about stitching, and it's gotta be profesh. Okay. So those are struggles. Finance,
not just finance. What other?
Time.
It was so hard to make. I mean, okay, it got to a point where we couldn't make time for it anymore because of all the things that we had going on in our lives, especially because growing up you take on more responsibilities.
She had A-levels,
working a job, like I didn't have weekends, I'd basically be working, so I just did not have the time, and I'll be constantly tired because if I'm not at school I was at work. So it was just having to balance all of that in one go. There's also struggles that go into other stuff that we're gonna elaborate upon, and we'll tell you about the struggles when we talk about our next question.
Okay,